necromancers. Good day to you, partner. I'm Guy, and I can already tell that I'll be your best friend in this forsaken kingdom.
Hey guys, Wheat Solo here, aka the not cameraed streamer man who once used to have his shirt off. For anyone who worried, the shirt or the person will be back on screen again, and when the person is back on screen, his shirt will be off. But when I'm just making content of me playing for hours, I doubt I'll be sitting cross-legged with my shirt off like Adonis for the whole time. I kind of gain weight, my chest sticks out. I mean, my belly, my chest sticks out. My chest gets bigger when I play Diablo 2 for hours. I don't even go to the gym. All right. Sorry, I'm a little sick. I hope that didn't hurt your ears. Sorry. We're going to try to do this video as quickly and as efficiently as possible without coughing again. So, I went ahead and I finished Nightmare, obviously, and then during the same weekend, I was able to do Hell pretty easily. I'm now level 80. And like here, yes, there are fire immunes, and fire immunes are very, very obnoxious. And real quickly, that doesn't mean you can't play fire golems in hell right off the bat, but it does mean you have to be very disciplined with where you farm. And for a lot of people, that is a deal breaker. And if that's a deal breaker, then almost don't even play golems, because physical is not even the best element to farm early on. Like, it's good, it's better than fire, no one's going to argue that. But if you want to farm any place in the game, mages revives. Because you can go mages plus Ellie revives for the areas that it works for. And then if you're farming an area where if fire is not a good element, because obviously Council and Travelords are your best elemental revives, then you can just get Moonlords. And again, if you go into a map, the revives have the mods from the map, guys. If you desecrate, specifically desecrate, revive the corpse that is from your desecrate, they get all the map mods. That is absolutely busted. But as you could see, it still wasn't an issue, and I did all of hell in 2 hours. Okay, so someone wanted me to go over crafting more, and I'm not really an expert on crafting, but you saw that image that came on the screen? You can just pause that, and I think those are the main crafts to look out for in general while playing a Necromancer. Not the only, but in general, those are the best in my opinion. Like somebody might look at Blood Amulet and go, why would you put that up there, Weed Solo? Well, that's because you get life after each kill and faster run walk. And although, yes, a summoner doesn't benefit from life after each kill, a lot of necromancers do. And also early on, you trust me, you want faster run walk, even on builds that just cast Blood Warp as much as they can, because you just can't afford that much Blood Warp early on. Okay, and then I had Caster Shield come up and Caster Weapon. Now, what's that about? Okay, those are like the holy grails for crafting as a Necromancer. But the Caster Weapon is like basically something that, although technically there are still holy grails that exist, it is unlikely you will ever beat any of the ones on the screen. In fact, basically impossible. You can't beat Arm of King Laeric. There's like a 0.00001% chance you beat a Bone Shade, and although beating a D-Web is still possible if you value FCR, like if you really need FCR for your build, you can get a better one than a D-Web. Even that is incredibly unlikely. And then there's Blackhand Key. Like, I'm not even talking about Blackhand Key, which technically you can beat, but Fuzzy never bothered trying to craft one. Why? Well, because it actually has a lot of other good stats. Like, it has a chunk of FCR, it's got a chunk of life, and life after each kill. So even the chance you beat one that is likely to beat, like Dark Pact, Blackhand Key, you probably still won't. Like, is it really worth your time? But the other one, my friends, Caster Shield. So basically, Caster Weapon, yes, technically those holy grails exist. But Caster Shield, there's like mini grails, not even just the holy ones. You can just get a good shield for your build, I promise. Now, of course, Rhyme and Splendor are very good early on, but you could craft something better than a Rhyme and Splendor, better than a Bone Flame, etc. All those, shitty Necro heads we have, which are actually pretty good. Martyrdom, there's a lot to talk about. But you can actually craft a good shield. You can craft one for Bone. You can craft one for Poison Nova, a great one for Poison Nova. Basically any Necromancer you can build a sick Caster Shield for. Now, do you have to go Caster Shield? if you go back to the image of all the crafts that you can make, technically you can do safety as well. That's another great shield option. But basically, if you stick with caster, you might find an option that is good for Poison Nova, Dark Pact, or Boner. And so that's why that's generally the best one to do. But if you're specifically looking for a summoner shield, non-swap, safety's a great option. Like, caster's still good, FCR is never bad, but probably you're not going to need FCR as much, so that is another option for you to choose as well. And also, always keep in mind that diamond crafts are incredibly overpowered, even though I didn't bring them up. Okay, so more images came on the screen. I can't even talk about this stuff as quickly as I should talk about it. And that had to do with basically trying to make a budget P-Nova setup. Now, I know D-Web you wouldn't call budget, but why I put it up there is because you can get a terrible D-Web and it's still amazing. But the other two options are incredibly budget, which is Venom and Gargoyle's Bite. Now, I believe Gargoyle's Bite was actually nerfed since that image, but I'm not positive. But I think it might have been nerfed 5%. But basically, if you get one of those weapons, and then I'm serious when I say any armor, any other items, and you prioritize it like this. You prioritize facets over pierce, over skills, over mastery, over FCR, which you could argue FCR is maybe a little better, kind of just depends. Like, FCR is nice to have. Being below the 48 breakpoint's pretty rough, but, you know, we're just trying to deal damage at this point. And is it really that easy? It really is. I mean, just go to the website, the wiki, okay, and look at all the sets that give FCR or plus skills based on a set bonus. You've got the Heaven's Brethren, the Hwanes, Najas, Sazabis. Almost every one of those sets will give you FCR and skills if you have 2 or 3 of them. And then basically what you can do is just try to core sockets on anything with skills and FCR, and then you put in bad facets. They don't even have to be good facets. But if that sounds too complicated, which I understand it's a lot to throw at people, then you can just do full trangs plus any one of those weapons, and you can basically do T1s almost immediately, if not at least having full skillers. So, like, I trust me when I say that's actually budget for PD2. And can you go more budget than that? Well, if you get, you know, enough facets and stuff, you don't need full skillers. But I don't want to lead somebody astray and have them switch way too early. But in general, that's the rule. Okay, so Ghost Flame. Why do I have a Ghost Flame up on the screen? There are actually other items I never touched on that are pretty useful for a Necromancer and like have no value basically, and Ghost Flame is one of them. Why? It's got a chunk of fire mastery. And as we know, well, as most people know, except for high APM optimal gameplay Dorcas Humonguses, mastery is really good for fire golems. He just got it backwards. He thought mastery was good for Poison Creeper. It's not, because it doesn't work. And that mastery doesn't work for fire golems. It does, and it's really good. So Ghost Flame is just a really simple snapshot one for fire golems. Now, it is kind of annoying because, yes, the shopping a wand is better. Like, a plus 7/2 is going to be way better than a Ghost Flame. But there is, like, a min-max of your plus skills and your mastery from other gear, where Ghost Flame is a nice choice to have, and it's not going to cost you anything. So just try it out. You know, maybe you have a plus 5 wand or a plus 6 because you don't want to shop forever. Then try throw a Ghost Flame on you and see if you can get more damage. So V-Gaze, they've buffed items. Like, I talked about how they buffed all of these sets, which were absolutely pointless, and now have, like, you can just throw it on any character and it'll do good things for you. Like, seriously, almost every set will do good things for you, I promise. They buffed V-Gaze. Now, it's kind of funny because V-Gaze used to be, like, just a throw-it-on, do-it-all item in vanilla LOD, but it basically has dropped off a cliff in PD2 because there's just... It stayed the same, everything else got way better, and like it doesn't offer enough with all of the amazing helms they have buffed. But they did change it. Now, you see on the screen it was 15 to 20%. It's actually been buffed to 15 to 25% PDR. So I brought up Rockstopper as being a cool budget item for safety. V-Gaze at 25% is another amazing option. Now, I don't want to speculate on how easy you can get one, but trust me when I say they're not very valuable, so they shouldn't be worth much. So if you're having trouble stomping and like someone has a V-Gaze up for a couple of shards, give it a shot. because suddenly going from 0 PDR to 25% PDR sounds pretty fucking good to me. For anyone who likes to do math, you're taking 3/4 the damage. So if somebody does, let's say you have 900 health, right? And an attack would take you down to 500. Well, instead you're down to 600. Well, that's a pretty big difference. I like that. And by the way, what did I learn from doing Act 4 Nightmare Chaos Sanctuary? Just use clay golems. What's funny is I actually switched to using Amplified Damage and Life Tap, and I basically never, well, very barely lost a clay golem after that point, and also my merc didn't die. So again, we solo kind of smart with the 10 CM idea. Again, is it more optimal not to have 10 CM for fire golems? Yes. But if you run 10 CM, then that gives you the option to buff any of your other golems for multiple purposes. For instance, one person was using blood golems for Trav, and I said, well, technically that's not optimal. Clay golems are probably still faster, but by a very small margin, and having that life on hit little bonus there is, it's the kind of quality of life where it's like, does it really matter? Like, run blood golems and do Trav. Now, I just hate doing Trav, so I don't want to farm like that. So this is basically another area you can farm. Well, not Frozen River, but same area. I think I forgot to keep it. Glacial Trail, and then the Icy Cellar, I believe. God, I can't remember the right name. But the subzone to that place. So you've got Maggot, you've got Stony, you've got Glacial Trail, the subzone there. I think there's a couple other fire areas, and I apologize, and I should try and compile every single one that works now. But it feels really good at 30 skills to farm those areas. That's just kind of how this game works. You farm an area good for your element, you can be really budget. But yes, you have to be very judicious in sticking to those areas. There was something I wanted to talk about, but I had to finish map immunities real quickly. I don't know what it was now. No. It had to do with running blood golems. Anyways, there's an iron golem you could make. It's kind of a cool change they did. They just added purity to weapons, which I'm kind of confused. They allowed you to make an iron golem out of it because I don't think they like iron golems being made out of budget rune words, like basically having Mage Slayer nerfed. But we got a new one you can just throw on any build. So if you're stomping as a Necromancer and you don't have prayer, like, make a purity. It costs you absolutely nothing. So the last thing about 10 CM and whether it's optimal or not, maybe that's what I was talking about, hopefully, because I knew it was going to basically be the answer of the universe. If you run 10 CM, it just makes doing mini Ubers and Ubers budget way easier. Kind of like you saw on the screen, we're having the ability to life tap a boss or the ability to amp weaken a box, like especially Duriel, Bale, the bosses that really do a lot of physical damage. Feels really, really, really nice. And then you can run clay golems for something, you can run blood golems for something, you can run fire golems for something. Now, I did try to do this. What I tried to do in a game is I tried to farm Trav with clay and then switch to fire to farm the fire areas. And that to me did not feel like it was worth your time at all. Basically, you're either farming Trav, you're either going to Trav spam with your clay or blood, whatever, whatever floats your boat, buddy. I think clay golems look cooler. I don't know. Maybe they don't. I'll have to rate all of the summons one day. Make a tier list. That sounds like a good way to get clicks. Speaking of getting clicks, if my last video was popular because I put the name Green Goblin in the title, I'm going to be so irritated. And by the way, I died from that corpse explosion ability the other day, and it really pissed me off because it's stupid and they should get rid of it. Anyways, golems. Golems are good guys, and you can do anything you want with them. Necromancer is the most you can do. What's the word for it? It's like build a Necro. You can just pick all of these skills we have access to and throw a Necromancer together. You can do Mages, Archers, Fire Golems. You can do Mages, Archers, Revives. You can do Fire Golems, Revives. You can do Fire Golems, Mages. All of those builds work. You can just do full Skellymancer. You can do full Golemmancer. You can do full support. Skelly King out, guys. GG.
this, Danny.